I was driving to my daughter's house in southeast Portland with a pumpkin pie on the passenger seat, already imagining Emily's smile when she saw I'd remembered her favorite recipe. The autumn leaves were brilliant orange and gold along Hawthorne Boulevard. My phone rang. My accountant, Gerald Martinez. I almost didn't answer. It was Sunday afternoon, and Gerald never called on Sundays. Thomas. His voice was tight, clipped. I need you to look at something immediately. Gerald, I'm literally pulling into Emily's driveway. Can this wait until tomorrow? No. This concerns your daughter specifically. Tom, you won't believe what she's planning. My hand froze on the steering wheel. What are you talking about? Check your email. I'm sending it now. Don't sign anything today, please. Before I could respond, he hung up. I sat in my truck outside Emily's craftsman-style house, the one I'd helped her buy 5 years ago, watching the notification appear on my phone. The subject line read, Urgent Sullivan Family Trust Documents. Before we continue, please subscribe to the channel and let us know where you're listening from in the comments. My daughter's husband, Marcus Rodriguez, opened the door before I knocked. His smile was too wide, practiced, like he'd been rehearsing in the mirror. Tom, right on time. He took the pie from my hands. Emily's finishing up in the kitchen. The house smelled like roasted turkey, but something felt wrong. The dining table was set for 3 fine china I'd never seen before. Everything looked staged, deliberate. Emily emerged, wiping flour from her hands. Dad, so glad you could make it. She hugged me, but her grip was mechanical. When had my daughter's embraces become performances? We settled in the living room. Marcus sat close to Emily on the love seat, their knees touching. I took the armchair across from them. So, Marcus began, leaning forward, we wanted to talk to you about the bookstores. I owned 3 locations of Sullivan and Daughters books across Portland. Started with one shop 40 years ago, built it into something substantial. Emily had worked there during high school and college, but never showed interest in taking over. She'd gone into marketing, made her own career. What about them? I asked carefully. Emily's smile didn't reach her eyes. Dad, you're 68. How much longer can you keep managing 3 locations by yourself? I have excellent staff. Sarah's been running the Pearl District location for 12 years. That's exactly the point, Marcus cut in. You're relying on employees. What if something happened to you? Does anyone else have access to the accounts, the inventory systems, your estate planning? The questions came too fast, too rehearsed. I watched Emily's hand squeeze Marcus's arm. A signal. I've been thinking, Emily said, her voice honey-sweet. Maybe it's time to bring family more into the business. Marcus has experience with financial systems. We could help shoulder the burden. I studied my daughter. She'd never called the bookstores a burden before. She'd called them my legacy, my passion, my life's work. That's thoughtful, I said slowly. But I'm managing fine. Of course you are. Marcus's tone had an edge. But at your age, you should be thinking about succession planning. These are valuable assets. The real estate alone in the Pearl District must be worth over $1 million. There it was. The real interest. Not the books, not the legacy, not helping their aging father. The money. Dinner was uncomfortable. Every time I looked up, Marcus was watching me. When I excused myself to use the bathroom, I heard urgent whispers from the dining room. Walking back, I saw Emily's laptop open on the kitchen counter. An email draft was visible on the screen. The subject line stopped me cold. Ray. Conservatorship petition. Thomas Sullivan. My heart hammered. I shouldn't read it. I should walk away. Instead, I stepped closer. The life coach confirmed 3 incidents of confusion during our sessions. Doctor. Harrison said he can provide the medical evaluation by next week. Once we have that, the attorney can file. Dad? Emily's voice made me jump. She moved quickly to close the laptop. Did you need something? Just looking for the bathroom, I lied. She smiled, but her eyes were cold. Down the hall, second door. I left 20 minutes later, claiming fatigue. Emily walked me to my truck, her hand on my arm. Dad, we should schedule a time to review your estate documents. Marcus and I found a great estate attorney. We could all meet together, make sure everything's in order. I have an attorney. I know, but this one specializes in elder planning. Just think about it, okay? I drove home through Portland's autumn evening, my mind racing. Conservatorship petition, life coach confirming confusion, Dr. Harrison providing an evaluation. They weren't helping me plan. They were planning to take control. That night, I couldn't sleep. I sat in my home office in the Laurelhurst neighborhood, staring at my bookshelves. The first edition Hemingway my wife had given me. The photos of Emily as a child, sitting in the original bookstore, surrounded by stacks of picture books. What had happened to my daughter? At midnight, I opened my laptop and did what I should have done months ago. I searched Marcus Rodriguez. What I found made my blood run cold. 6 months ago, Marcus had launched something called Rodriguez Capital Management, an investment firm promising 12% annual returns, guaranteed. The website showed testimonials, graphs, professional photos, but when I dug deeper, the business license was only 4 months old. There was no SEC registration, no regulatory filings. I called Gerald Martinez at 7 in the morning. Tom, thank God. Did you sign anything? No. Tell me what you found. Your daughter contacted me 2 weeks ago. She said she was worried about you, that you'd been making odd financial decisions. She asked if I'd noticed any confusion in your instructions, any missed payments. I've never missed a payment in 40 years. That's what I told her. But Tom, she's not the only one asking. Your business insurance agent called me yesterday. Someone's been making inquiries about your mental competence. I gripped the phone. They're building a case. That's exactly what they're doing. And I found something else. Marcus Rodriguez's investment firm? It's a Ponzi scheme. I'm 90% certain. The returns he's promising are mathematically impossible without massive risk. He's probably paying early investors with new money. How much has he raised? Based on the testimonials and online research, maybe 200,000. But Tom, these things collapse fast. When it does, Marcus is going to need money desperately. Your bookstore portfolio is worth close to $3 million with the real estate. I sat in silence, processing. My daughter had married a con man, and now they were conspiring to steal my life's work to cover his fraud. Gerald, I need to see an attorney. Today. I'll send you a name. Patricia Walsh. She's the best estate and elder law attorney in Portland. Tell her I referred you. 2 hours later, I sat in Patricia Walsh's office on the 20th floor of a downtown high-rise. She was mid-50s, sharp-eyed, with the bearing of someone who'd spent years in courtrooms. I told her everything, the dinner conversation, the email I'd seen, Gerald's findings about Marcus. She listened without interrupting, making notes. When I finished, she leaned back in her chair. Thomas, this is serious. If they file for conservatorship and win even temporarily, you could lose control of your assets immediately. The court could freeze your accounts pending evaluation. Can they really do that? If they present credible evidence of incapacity, yes. A doctor's letter, witness testimony, documented incidents. The court errs on the side of protection. They'll grant temporary conservatorship while they investigate. But I'm perfectly competent. I believe you, but we need to prove it. I'm scheduling you for comprehensive cognitive evaluations at Oregon Health and Science University. We need documentation that you're mentally sharp. Today. She made calls while I sat there. Within an hour, I had appointments scheduled. Second, Patricia continued, we're creating an irrevocable living trust. Today, we'll transfer the bookstores, your home, your investment accounts into the trust. You'll be primary trustee, but we'll name an independent professional fiduciary as successor, not family members. Can Emily challenge that? She can try. But if we execute it before they file their petition, and you're clearly competent when you sign, it's very difficult to overturn. The assets won't be yours personally anymore. They'll belong to the trust. Over the next 3 days, I lived in Patricia's office and OHSU's medical center. I took memory tests, logic puzzles, cognitive assessments. A neurologist named Dr. Sarah Chen had me recite numbers backward, draw clock faces, solve math problems. Mr. Sullivan, she said after the final test, your cognitive function is in the superior range for your age group. There is absolutely no indication of impairment. None. I got the same results from a second evaluation at Portland Cognitive Institute. Dr. Michael Washington was equally clear. You're sharper than most 50-year-olds I test. Meanwhile, Patricia and I transferred everything into the Sullivan Family Trust. The bookstores, my house, my retirement accounts, all of it. We appointed Catherine Palmer from Portland Fiduciary Services as independent trustee. I'm legally required to act in your best interest, Catherine explained when we met. If family members try to manipulate this trust for their benefit, I'll fight them. That's my job. On the fourth day, I was reviewing the completed trust documents when my phone rang. Emily. Dad, hi. I wanted to invite you to Thanksgiving next week. Small gathering, just us. We can talk about the bookstore transition we discussed. Her voice was warm, eager, completely false. That sounds nice, I said, keeping my tone neutral. Great. Oh, and I found that estate attorney I mentioned. He'll join us for dessert, just to answer any questions you might have. Very casual. What's his name? David Chen. He's wonderful. Very experienced with family trusts and succession planning. I wrote the name down. After we hung up, I texted it to Patricia. Her response came in 10 minutes. David Chen filed conservatorship petitions for 3 clients last year. All 3 resulted in family members gaining control of assets. This is a setup. I called a private investigator, Patricia recommended. Frank Martinez, retired Portland police detective, now doing corporate investigations. We met at a coffee shop in the Alberta Arts District. Frank was early 70s, silver-haired, with eyes that missed nothing. Your son-in-law's investment firm is definitely a Ponzi scheme, Frank said, sliding documents across the table. I contacted one of his investors. She invested $50,000 in June. He's been paying her 12% returns monthly. But there's no actual trading activity. No real investments. He's paying her with money from newer investors. How long until it collapses? Days, maybe weeks. He's running out of new money. When it falls apart, he's facing securities fraud charges. Prison time. And he owes people roughly $200,000. I studied the documents. Bank transfers, investment statements, email exchanges. Marcus was desperate. And desperate men do desperate things. I need to know what Emily knows, I said. Is she part of this, or is she being used? Frank nodded slowly. I can look into that. But Thomas, be prepared. Sometimes the answer is worse than you hope. 3 days later, Frank called me. I've been surveilling them, he said. Your daughter knows about the Ponzi scheme. I have video of her and Marcus meeting with an investor, making promises about returns. She's complicit. The words hit like a physical blow. My Emily, my daughter, knowingly helping her husband defraud people, using my potential assets to plan their escape. There's more, Frank continued. I recorded a conversation outside their house. They were arguing in the driveway, didn't notice me in my car across the street. Marcus told Emily they needed to accelerate the timeline because investors were getting suspicious. Emily said, "The life coach report is done. Dr. Harrison will do the evaluation next week. Then we file." Life coach? They hired someone named Rebecca Stone. She's been meeting with you? Then I remembered. 6 weeks ago, Emily had introduced me to her friend Rebecca at a bookstore event. Rebecca had chatted with me for 20 minutes, asking about my daily routines, my business decisions, whether I ever felt overwhelmed managing everything. I'd thought it was friendly conversation. It was an assessment. She was documenting incidents, I said quietly. Exactly. Building their case that you need help. And Dr. Harrison? He's already written the evaluation. I have a source at his office. The report is dated for next week, but it already exists. He's being paid to diagnose you with early-stage dementia without ever meeting you. I sat in my office, phone pressed to my ear, staring at the photo of 6-year-old Emily on my desk. That little girl who'd loved story time, who'd sorted books by color because she couldn't read yet, who'd declared she'd own a bookstore someday just like Daddy. Where had she gone? Frank, can you get me that evaluation? The one Dr. Harrison already wrote? I can try. Give me 48 hours. Thanksgiving was in 5 days. 5 days until they planned to spring their trap. I spent those days preparing. I documented every business decision, every financial transaction, every conversation. I had employees at all 3 bookstores write statements confirming my competence, my sharp mind, my attention to detail. I met with Frank twice more. He'd become more than an investigator. We'd talk for hours about life, loss, second chances. He'd lost his wife 3 years ago to cancer. I'd lost mine 8 years ago. "You're handling this better than most people would," Frank said over coffee on our 3rd meeting. "I don't feel like I'm handling it well. I feel like my daughter died, and a stranger is wearing her face. That's grief. You're allowed to feel it." He paused. "But you're also protecting yourself. That takes strength." On the Tuesday before Thanksgiving, Frank delivered a manila envelope to my house. "Dr. Harrison's evaluation," he said. My source came through. I read it in my office. The report was thorough, detailed, and completely fabricated. It described multiple incidents of confusion, memory loss, poor judgment. It recommended immediate intervention, including conservatorship, to protect me from financial exploitation and self-harm. I'd never met Dr. Harrison. This evaluation was dated next Tuesday, but it was written last week, prepared in advance, waiting for me to sign whatever documents they'd bring to Thanksgiving dinner. "This is criminal," I said. "Yes, fraud, forgery, if they forge your signature on a consent form. Plus, Marcus's Ponzi scheme. Tom, your daughter is looking at serious legal trouble." I should have felt satisfaction. Instead, I felt hollow. That evening, I called Emily. "Dad, hi. Still on for Thursday?" "Actually, honey, I'm not feeling well. I think I picked up a bug. I don't want to get you sick." A pause, just slightly too long. "Oh, that's unfortunate. Are you sure? We could postpone to Friday? Let's wait until I'm feeling better. I'll call you next week." After I hung up, I texted the photo of Dr. Harrison's fraudulent evaluation to Patricia Walsh. Her response was immediate. "File criminal complaint tomorrow. I'll prepare emergency petition to block their conservatorship attempt." The next morning, Patricia and I sat with a prosecutor from the Multnomah County District Attorney's Office. We presented everything: the fabricated medical evaluation, evidence of the Ponzi scheme, Frank's recordings, the documented conspiracy. The prosecutor, a sharp woman named Jennifer Santos, reviewed the materials carefully. "Mr. Sullivan, this is one of the clearest cases of elder financial exploitation I've seen. We'll file charges against Dr. Harrison for fraud, Marcus Rodriguez for securities fraud, and if they file a conservatorship petition with this forged evaluation, we'll add forgery charges." "What about my daughter?" Jennifer's expression softened. "That depends on her level of involvement. If she was manipulated by her husband, coerced, we might offer a deal. If she was an active participant in defrauding investors and trying to steal your assets." She didn't finish the sentence. That afternoon, Marcus Rodriguez and Emily Sullivan received notification that Marcus's investment firm was under investigation by the SEC and Oregon Department of Consumer and Business Services. My phone exploded with calls. 14 missed calls from Emily in 2 hours. I listened to the voicemails. "Dad, please call me. There's been a misunderstanding. Please. Dad, we need to talk about this. Please pick up. Dad, we were just trying to help you. This is all wrong. Please call me back." The desperation escalated with each message. I didn't call back. Instead, I met Frank for dinner at a quiet Italian restaurant in Northwest Portland. We'd been seeing each other regularly now, beyond the investigation. He made me laugh. He challenged my assumptions. He reminded me that life existed outside this nightmare. "They'll probably try to confront you in person," Frank said over pasta. "I know. You ready for that?" I thought about it. "I don't know. She's still my daughter, Frank. I remember teaching her to ride a bike. First day of kindergarten, her wedding day. My voice cracked. How do I reconcile those memories with who she's become?" He reached across the table, took my hand. "You don't have to reconcile it tonight. You just have to protect yourself. The grief comes later." 2 days later, on Saturday morning, they came. I was in my backyard, raking leaves, when I heard the doorbell. Through the front window, I saw Emily's car in the driveway. I'd been expecting this. I pulled out my phone, started the recording app. Oregon is a one-party consent state. I could legally record any conversation I participated in. I opened the door. Emily's eyes were red, like she'd been crying. Marcus stood behind her, his jaw tight. "Dad, please, we need to talk." I stepped aside, let them enter. We settled in my living room, same positions as that first dinner. Me in the armchair, them on the couch. "Dad," Emily began, her voice trembling. "This is all a huge misunderstanding." "What part?" "The fabricated medical evaluation? The Ponzi scheme? The conservatorship petition you were planning?" Marcus flinched. Emily's tears came faster. "We were trying to protect you," she said. "We thought you needed help managing everything. By having me declared mentally incompetent? By stealing my life's work? We weren't stealing." Marcus leaned forward. "Emily is your daughter. It's her inheritance anyway. We were just trying to accelerate the timeline, to help you retire peacefully." "Retire peacefully in a care facility while you sold my bookstores to cover your investment fraud?" Silence. Emily's face went white. "We needed the money," Marcus finally said. "The business had some cash flow issues. We thought if we could access the bookstore assets, we could stabilize things." "You mean pay off the investors you defrauded before they realize there's no actual investments?" Emily stood up, pacing. "Dad, you don't understand the pressure we've been under. The investors started asking questions. We just needed time to make things right." "Make things right by destroying me?" She turned to face me, and for just a moment, I saw my real daughter. Scared, ashamed, desperate. "I'm sorry," she whispered. "I'm so sorry. I didn't know how to stop it." Marcus said this was the only way. He said you'd understand eventually that families help each other. Families don't commit fraud against each other. They left 15 minutes later. I stood at my window, watching their car disappear down the street, the recording still running on my phone. That evening, I uploaded the audio to secure cloud storage. Their own words, admitting the conspiracy, the desperation, the plan. Frank came over. We didn't talk about the case. We cooked dinner together, drank wine, listened to jazz. He told me about his grandchildren. I told him about the early days of the bookstore, when my wife was alive and we'd stay up late pricing used books. "I've been thinking," Frank said, as we cleaned dishes. "After this is all over, maybe you'd like to come with me to the coast. I have a place in Cannon Beach. It's quiet, peaceful, good for processing." I looked at him, really looked. Somewhere in the past 3 weeks, this retired detective had become more than an investigator. He'd become a friend, maybe something more. "I'd like that," I said. He smiled. "Good, because I'd like it too." On Monday morning, Patricia Walsh called. "Thomas," they filed. "The conservatorship petition hit the court an hour ago." My stomach dropped. "Already? They're desperate. The SEC investigation is accelerating. They need access to money now. But Tom, they made mistakes. They submitted Dr. Harrison's evaluation, dated last Thursday. But Harrison's office records show you were never there. We have your actual medical evaluations from OHSU showing perfect cognitive function. And we have the recording where they admit it's fabricated. What happens now? Emergency hearing in 3 days. Judge Maria Torres. She's fair, thorough, doesn't tolerate fraud. We'll present everything. The forged evaluation, the Ponzi scheme, your actual medical reports, the trust documents showing you've been completely competent in managing complex legal matters. And Emily? Patricia's voice softened. That's up to the prosecutor. But Thomas, your daughter signed this petition. She swore under oath that you're mentally incapacitated. That's perjury if we can prove she knew it was false. The hearing was on Thursday. The courthouse was in downtown Portland, all marble and echoing hallways. Patricia walked beside me, carrying a briefcase full of evidence. Frank met us at the entrance. "You don't have to be here," I told him. "I know. I want to be." Courtroom 5B was smaller than I expected. Emily and Marcus sat at the petitioner's table with David Chen, their attorney. Emily wouldn't look at me. Judge Torres entered promptly at 9. Mid-60s, stern, with reading glasses that made her look like a disappointed librarian. "Let's proceed," she said, reviewing the file. "Miss Santos, I see the state has filed a motion to intervene?" The prosecutor stood. "Yes, Your Honor. This case involves multiple criminal investigations, including securities fraud, medical fraud, and elder exploitation. We ask the court to deny the conservatorship petition and refer all matters to the criminal justice system." Judge Torres turned to David Chen. "Counselor, I've reviewed your petition. You've submitted a medical evaluation from Dr. Timothy Harrison, but I see the respondent has filed contradicting evaluations from OHSU and Portland Cognitive Institute. Explain." Chen stood, shuffling papers. "Your Honor, we believe Dr. Harrison's evaluation more accurately reflects long-term patterns of Counselor." The judge's voice could cut steel. "Dr. Harrison's evaluation is dated last Thursday at 2 p.m., but according to his office's own records, Mr. Sullivan was never there. How was this evaluation conducted?" Chen's face went pale. There may have been administrative error in the dating." "There's no error." Patricia stood. "Your Honor, we have evidence this evaluation was written a week before it's dated, before Dr. Harrison ever met Mr. Sullivan. In fact, he's never met Mr. Sullivan. This is fabricated evidence." She presented the documents Frank had obtained. The judge read them, her expression darkening. "Mr. Chen, does your client wish to withdraw this petition?" Chen whispered urgently with Marcus and Emily. Finally, Emily stood. "Your Honor, we made terrible mistakes. I thought I was helping my father, but I see now that I was wrong. I'd like to withdraw the petition." "Too late for that." Judge Torres removed her glasses. "This petition contains fraudulent medical evidence. It makes serious allegations about a competent individual's mental capacity. These allegations, if successful, would have stripped Mr. Sullivan of his fundamental rights." She turned to me. "Mr. Sullivan, I apologize that the court's time was wasted with this matter. The petition is dismissed with prejudice. Petitioners are ordered to pay respondents' legal fees in full." She looked at Jennifer Santos. "I'm forwarding all evidence to your office for criminal prosecution. This court takes elder exploitation extremely seriously." The gavel came down. I stood, shook Patricia's hand. Frank squeezed my shoulder. Behind me, I heard Emily sob. Not manufactured tears this time. Real grief. Real recognition of what she'd done. I turned. She was standing, Marcus holding her arm. "Dad," she called out. "Please. I'm sorry. I know I don't deserve forgiveness, but please." I walked to her, looked into her eyes. "I love you," I said quietly. "I will always love you, but I can't trust you. Not now. Maybe not ever again. Dad, if you want a relationship with me, you'll leave Marcus. You'll enter therapy. You'll make restitution to the people he defrauded. You'll take responsibility for what you've done. Those are my terms." I walked away before she could respond. Frank drove me home. We didn't talk. When we reached my house, I sat in his car for a long moment. "I thought I'd feel triumph," I said. "I just feel tired. You did the right thing. You protected yourself and gave her a choice. That's all you can do. What if she doesn't choose right? Then that's her loss, not yours." Over the next week, Marcus Rodriguez was arrested for securities fraud. Dr. Harrison lost his medical license pending investigation. David Chen faced ethics charges from the Oregon State Bar. Emily called once. Said she'd moved out, filed for separation from Marcus. Said she wanted to do what I'd asked, but needed time. I told her I'd be here when she was ready, but I wouldn't wait forever. A month later, Frank and I drove to Cannon Beach. We walked along the shore, waves crashing, seagulls calling. The November air was cold and clean. "I've been thinking about expanding the bookstores," I said. "Maybe a fourth location. There's a space opening up in Beaverton." "You're not retiring?" "Eventually, but not yet. I have more to build, more to do." He smiled. "Need an investor?" "I've got some retirement savings doing nothing." I looked at him. "You want to be my business partner?" "Maybe. If the terms are right." He paused. "And maybe more than business partners, if you're interested." I took his hand. "I'm interested." We stood there on the beach, two men in our 70s, holding hands like teenagers, watching the Pacific stretch endless before us. 6 weeks later, Emily completed a 60-day intensive therapy program. She made a video statement to Marcus's victims, apologizing, promising to work toward restitution. She got a job as a marketing coordinator, started paying back what she could. She called and asked if we could meet. We met at a neutral cafe, both nervous. "I don't expect forgiveness," she said. "I don't deserve it. But I want you to know I'm trying. I'm in therapy twice a week. I'm working with a financial counselor to understand how I enabled Marcus. I'm taking responsibility. I studied my daughter. She looked older, tired, but more real than I'd seen her in months. I'm proud of you for doing the work," I said carefully. "But trust takes time to rebuild." "I know. I'm willing to take that time, however long it needs." We talked for an hour. It was awkward, painful, honest. At the end, I hugged her. She cried. "I love you, Dad. I love you too. Always have. Always will." It wasn't reconciliation. Not yet. But it was a beginning. 3 months later, Frank and I stood in the new Beaverton bookstore location, watching contractors install shelves. We'd signed partnership papers the week before. He'd invested $200,000, took a 30% stake. "You nervous?" he asked. "About the business or about us?" "Both." I laughed, terrified and excited. "Is that normal? At our age?" "Absolutely." My phone rang. "Patricia Walsh." "Thomas. Thought you'd want to know. Marcus Rodriguez pleaded guilty. 27 months in federal prison. Dr. Harrison accepted a plea deal, lost his license permanently, and Emily's restitution plan was approved by the victims. She'll be paying for years, but she's committed. Thank you for everything, Patricia. Thank you for trusting me. Not everyone has the courage to fight back like you did." After I hung up, Frank pulled me close. "You did it," he said. "You protected yourself, gave your daughter a chance at redemption, started a new business, found new love. That's not just surviving, that's winning." I looked around the empty bookstore, already imagining how it would look filled with books, customers, life. Then I looked at Frank, this unexpected gift in my 7th decade. "You know what I've learned?" I said. "Winning isn't about destroying the people who hurt you. It's about refusing to let them destroy your capacity for anything else." That's pretty wise. I learned it the hard way. He kissed me then, gentle and certain. 2 men who'd lost partners, found betrayal, survived battles, and discovered that even in life's later chapters, new stories could begin. The bookstore would open in 6 weeks. Emily was slowly earning her way back into my life. Frank was making plans for us to travel to Italy next spring. I'd spent 2 months fighting for justice. But standing in this empty store with Frank's hand in mine, I realized the real victory was this: the freedom to choose what came next. The war was over. I'd won, not by destroying Emily, but by protecting myself, while leaving her a path back. Now I was free to do the only thing that ever really mattered: live well. If you enjoyed this story, please like this video, subscribe to Astral Vengeance, and share your thoughts in the comments below. Where are you listening from? Let us know. To hear another story, click on the suggested video. Thank you for watching.